This week's episode is brought to you by Colorado Junk Removal.
No more junk, no more stress.
Got some junk laying around the house? You know, that refrigerator that hasn't worked in 2 years.
Yeah, the washer that you said you were going to fix, but you never have.
Absolutely. That couch that's got a big hole in it that you're not probably ever going to give to anybody.
Fence posts that you're never going to fix either. I see a trend here.
Yeah. Then you need to call Colorado Junk Removal.
What's that number, Dan?
719-249-1717.
You know what? You can also visit them on the web at coloradojunk.com. Or you can send them an email, cojunkremoval@gmail.com.
That's right. Or give them a call, like we said, 719-249-1717. Matt will come take care of all of your junk.
And remember, no more junk, no more stress.
All right.
You want to count down?
Want to give a little 10 seconds for Harambe?
Yes.
Quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning is for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
I want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And this is the show where we take that piece of pop culture that you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes.
Welcome back to the show, guys.
Welcome back.
Well, this movie that we're going to cover
we got a
this
doozy
week,
for you this week.
Of course, if it went to the theaters, I don't think it went to anywhere except for like Poughkeepsie or something like that. You know what I mean? It was like on the vaudeville circuit is how many people actually probably saw it, which is kind of crazy. What movie are we doing, Dan?
We're doing a little Christopher Walken ditty that we'll call not the Dead Zone. Nope. We're doing Communion. Tell us a little bit about this movie, Brock.
Well, first, what was your when did you see this movie?
So honestly, I think all the way through today, because I think I'd seen pieces of it, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" You know, like when I was younger.
Okay.
So that's what I think. I think I had seen pieces of it because some of it looked familiar. But this is, I think, maybe the only time I'd seen it all the way through.
Okay. Well, it came out in 1989.
Yes.
Okay. To me, I knew somebody, I think it was one of my older friends, knew about this movie. And I don't know how they knew about it.
Right on.
And we looked for it forever, you know. And I can remember back in the day, in like the mid-90s or something like that, finding it and being like, wow, this is real, you know, and
sounded
watching
a little bit like Christopher.
Wow. and then later on, somebody else that I knew was really into just the story of that, you know, the book this is based on.
Strieber,
Yeah. And watched it again. And I mean, I've seen it multiple times before this last couple of times. And it never stuck. You know, I never remembered it. So when I saw it pop up the other day, I looked at my wife. I was like, we got to watch this movie, right? Took a little bit of gummy.
It's fair.
And we both giggled and laughed like we were, like it was the first time that we ever got high, right? And it was so fun. And then towards the end, we were just like, what the hell is going on in this fucking movie?
Well, yeah, there's some of that for sure.
And, well, what is this movie about?
So this movie is based on a book, which is supposedly, allegedly, a true story of what happened to the author, Whitley Strieber.
Strieber.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could say.
And so Walken plays the guy who wrote the story that he's in, basically.
Yes.
And he gets abducted by aliens and flips out, and then things go just completely wacky from there.
And let me tell you.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, let me tell you. Now, the movie is pretty discombobulated because it never really alludes to. I just don't know the pacing of it was right. In a way, and maybe it was supposed to be more real. Like you deny it until
Right.
until the last second, and then you're like, oh, okay, this happened. Damn it, I gotta
think
accept
that's what
it.
they were. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to play on.
Right.
I believe that was their.
I think
intent.
that there's probably a lot of stuff that was on the cutting room floor. A lot of stuff.
There's some where it's like, are they just doing a read?
Right. His reactions too. I mean, it's totally. And this is a way. This is a great way to look at it. My wife was like, "Does Christopher Walken know how to act normal? Is this him trying to act like a dad and be normal?" And I was like,
"Give me a kiss."
Yeah, I was like, "That's right." It's like he's trying to act like a dad, but and then she goes, "Didn't he witness somebody dying or something like that? Because he's not normal, is he?" And I'm like, "No."
Well, I think that Strieber, the author, actually said there he voiced his concern over the way it was played, and like it's like a little over the top, a little wacky. And Christopher Walken said, "If the shoe fits."
Yes, imagine him saying that. If the shoe fits,
Yeah. What are you gonna say? It's Christopher Walken.
you're like, okay, got it.
Yeah. Thanks.
You know what?
Yeah, I don't know. That was at the time during production. I don't know what he thinks about it now, and I don't care.
I think a lot of people try to forget about this because it is one of those. It almost is kind of like Voyage to the Planet of the Prehistoric Women. It's one of those movies that very seldomly it's going to pop up or you're going to see it. It's going to end up in the public domain just because nobody wants to have anything to do with it, and they didn't fuck up.
I'll be honest. It was enjoyable to watch.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was like an unintentional comedy.
Yeah.
And I respect that. I respect it when you're trying to make something and it comes out to be a comedy.
See, Strieber was he wrote the screenplay.
Yes.
And then he also wrote he was a producer too. So he was a producer and he wrote the screenplay. So you're writing the screenplay on a factual book that happened to you.
Air quotes factual, yes.
Yes. And you still write it this way?
Well, so I don't think that was the part he had the problem with. It's Christopher Walken's delivery and just his actions.
Everything.
And a lot of that you could just tell they let him go.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, hey, you were in the Deer Hunter. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. What are we going to say to you?
Play it like he just got back from NAMM.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to wear sweatpants up to my nipples.
I'm going to wear cowboy boots and no pants.
Yeah, I'm an elephant. Here, hold on to these. I mean, it really was him trying to act like a
normal father.
Normal person.
Well, and there is, and I don't know when we'll get into this, but there is definitely two sides to this movie of his character.
Yeah.
And the boy drives that home a lot as the narration of that, but you could tell it just in the way he's acting. You know what I mean? Until the end when he gets all completely crazy.
He goes off the rails at one point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, from the very beginning.
Yeah. Not quite the very beginning, but he's just being Christopher Walken being Christopher Walken. You know what I mean?
Another thing that's very discombobulating about this movie,
mm-hmm.
and I mention this a lot in movies because I have been noticing it, the music. Okay, it does not fit this movie. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to even place the music in this movie.
Eric Clapton wrote.
Yeah, I know he wrote, but I'm
okay.
Forgettable.
Right. It really is. It's like it's a very Riggs and Murtaugh type of a deal. You know what I mean? But it's for this movie, and they cue it in the weirdest freaking points.
Yeah.
Like it could be at the beginning, and it could be at the end, right? Maybe somewhere else, maybe when they're driving or something like that. But other than that, when they cue it, you're like, what the did they just run out of things to do? They're like, put some music right there. That'll probably make this one way better. And I'm still kind of lost in the whole everything that happens in this, and because that music would pop up, and I'm like, why is
what's going on here?
They're standing on the roof. I guess that's a cue for that. It was the same 3 bars of music over and over and over again, which is weird.
Well, his wife in the movie, Lindsay Krause, she's like a legit actress.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying Christopher Walken's not a legit actor.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, she was up for an Academy Award.
Yeah.
She was like in All the President's Men. I think Places in the Heart was what she was up for the nomination for. So she was on, and I think she started out on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I mean, Christopher Walken suggested her.
Oh,
and
really?
They were like, all right, cool.
Yeah, because it's Christopher Walken.
Because I think he wanted to make out with her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably the answer. It's like, she'd be real nice.
Well, there's also, the Andreas Katsoulis guy that's Alex in this movie.
Yeah.
He's the guy he's kind of like the foreigner,
Yeah.
in a lot of the late 80s, early 90s movies. And then you also got Frances Sternhagen, which she's a doctor in this.
Yes.
She's the shrink in it. Okay. And I mean,
she was in a bunch of stuff in like the 50s.
She's in a lot of stuff. Yeah. She played that kind of a character, but you could tell that some of these people were really trying pretty good.
So let me say that Joel Carlson, who plays the little boy, went on to do nothing after this in film. I don't know what he did in real life. Like he may have
he was a Chex Kid or something.
He could
like
pursue his passion, whatever that might have been.
Yeah. The $50.
Luckily, it wasn't annoying me for another hour and 46 minutes.
Oh my God,
that kid's kind of annoying, but he's the son.
Yeah,
and him and his dad have kind of a weird relationship.
Yeah, it's like he.
It's not in a bad way.
No,
it's not like
but Walken can distract him very well.
Yeah.
And distract you from what's really happening.
It's Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine him being your father? Of course it'd be distracting.
Yeah, right. He's throwing fake punches and holding you above his head. Yeah, it's a spider. What the fuck? What? I mean, I guess maybe if you look at it this way, okay, this movie is about a situation that makes you question reality.
Sure.
When you're watching this movie, you question reality that it's actually
a movie.
It was put together this way. And if you look at it in the artistic sense like that, and you don't take anything away from Felipe Mora's movie, right? Okay. But I don't think they were really going for that. If you look at it and you're like, okay, this is a great piece of cinema because they're trying to mess with you.
Right.
That was their intent. No, not at all.
They were trying to mess with you in a different way that was... And, it's weird because I saw online, a bunch of people were like, this movie scared me when I was a child. Like, the part with the face, the alien face around the corner. And I'm like... What?
Yeah. He was playing hide and seek.
What?
There's a space dude that was like, hi.
Yeah. What? Why? That's the scariest thing you've ever seen?
Or the noodle armed
scariest thing?
I know. Come on.
I mean, I get it. The alien in the dark. I could see how that would be as a child, maybe. Oh, it's an alien there.
Yeah.
I couldn't see.
Yeah.
But scariest thing? You're an adult, dude.
I know.
Unless this was like an 8-year-old that just happened to watch Communion that was typing away on Twitter.
Yeah. It was a 45-year-old in 1987. It was like, oh my God.
Right, exactly.
That was so real. I've been there.
Probably. You probably have been, sir.
Which, again, I think to really get the full grasp of what the story was, to read the book would make more sense. which I think in some countries they labeled it as fiction whenever it was released under their
They
deal for
probably should have
credibility.
labeled his book as fiction.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Inside the
I thought you
back
meant the
covers.
movie.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they're like based on a true story.
Yeah,
Maybe.
perhaps.
Well, here's a little. Here's
I'm
a
not
little.
saying whatever. I'm not saying some people could get taken by aliens. I don't know.
Well, I mean, here's a little bit of backstory about Whitley Strieber too. Supposedly, in the book Communion, he talks about how he was at the shootings in Austin.
Okay.
With Whitman, right? But he wasn't. He was in Austin. His mom said he was in Austin, but he describes being there, watching people get killed.
Really?
Okay, so he says, we heard a shot, and I came out of this building, and then I knew it was shooting, so I ducked down behind something, and then I saw a kid riding a bike get hit, right?
Okay.
But that didn't ever happen.
Really?
But then he describes seeing two women, because he was behind some, he said he ducked behind some sort of an embankment with another guy, and these two women got shot. One got shot in the stomach, and the other one got shot somewhere in the chest or something like that. So he described what he basically was saying. I could smell their stomach contents, and I can all of this stuff, right? And he said the guy that was next to me, I knew that the shooter was trying to get us out. So the shooting stopped for a sec, and then the guy next to me went out to go grab one of the women because her legs wouldn't work. And his head got blown off. But everybody's like, you weren't there. There's you weren't. This is a lie.
Wow.
Okay. So that puts into context a lot of different things.
What we can expect of the truth.
Right. And he was a big werewolf dude. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So that's not
like he turned into a werewolf?
No. Like he was. He I think he wrote a couple of werewolf stories.
Oh, really?
2 or 3, right?
Okay.
And a lot of the things that he described in Communion, he was putting into his stories to begin with.
Okay.
So maybe if this is real, it was a subconscious thing. You know, he'd already seen it. So I don't know.
Sure.
But that was because he said this stuff happened in 1987, 1986, 1987. And the book came out in 87. Okay. And then the movie came out in 89.
So here's what I think. He's a writer.
Mm-hmm.
He's into weird stuff. That's okay. I like weird occult stuff. And whatever. His book did really well, and then they made a movie. He got what he wanted accomplished. That's what I think.
They actually did 2
movies. Communion 2?
No. There was 3 movies that were made from his book.
Oh, really?
Right. And 2 of them were decent, and the third one sucked. I guess The Wolfen. I guess.
Oh, The Wolfen?
Yeah.
I remember that movie.
The Hunger.
I don't know that I've seen that one.
It was a weird one. It was like a vampire or something. I don't know. And then that's not the only werewolf connection in this movie either.
Okay.
Because the director Felipe Mora directed The Howling 2 and The Howling 3.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it was
a lot of werewolf ties there. Yeah.
Lycanthropy.
Were him and Strieber friends beforehand? He's like, will you direct my movie?
Actually,
and
yeah.
He's like, yeah, that makes sense.
No, actually, yeah, they met.
Well, especially if he wrote werewolf stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they met, and then later on they were having a conversation somewhere, and he told him about his experience. And he's like, if you ever write a book, let me know.
I see what happened
there. So that's the weird thing about Whitley Strieber. Is he telling the truth? Is he not telling the truth?
No, he's not telling the truth. He's a liar.
But
that is my thought. And again, I don't know him from Adam, but he
also
seems like a douche.
Yeah. But he also wrote a couple of crazy books too, and he collaborated with somebody. I forgot who the dude's name was, but 2 different movies, right? Or 2 different books. One was called War Day, right? It was a bit about nuclear warfare.
Okay.
So he did that. And then after that, he did another one called Nature's End. and this was about in an environmental apocalypse.
Okay.
So kind of, I mean,
I'm not saying anything
Yeah.
about his writing.
yeah, no, he kind of is a little bit. I mean, he has conscious writing. This was the only
Right, I see what you're
nonfiction
saying.
thing. Yeah. This is the only nonfiction thing that I think.
Maybe
he
I'm
did.
wrong. Maybe he got blasted in the chest and they sucked him up there and put something up his ass. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
His butthole.
But it doesn't feel real, And
No.
maybe I haven't read the book,
Yeah.
so maybe that's what I need to do. But like
Yeah.
the things I read about him,
Yeah.
like leading up to this, I was like, I don't know. Seems pretty shady. And then you kind of confirmed it with, what you were saying about the Austin shooting.
Yeah. That was when I read that, I was like, wow.
Why would you
okay.
do that? Because
Yeah.
you want some sort of fame. You want some sort of 5 minutes in the whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, people have said that he wasn't on campus. Even his mom said he wasn't on campus that day.
Yeah, that's crazy. So why do you say that?
I don't know. Why would you say that? Yeah, you witnessed,
Yeah.
one of the very first mass shootings
Yeah,
ever.
right. I was in Illinois when the Great Chicago Fire started.
Yeah. You lived over there.
Yeah, I lived over there. I mean, me and O'Leary's cows shared the same.
Yeah, I was there. So,
Anyways.
okay. So that's your backstory on what this movie is about.
That's right.
It's an alien abduction story, and
So it starts out they're going on a trip, right?
yeah. Okay. So Walken is playing Strieber, which is a writer.
Right.
This doesn't make sense either. Why the hell is there a video camera on him?
Because it was 1986 or 85. I think it actually takes place in 85.
Yeah.
But and that was the big thing coming out, and he's already a writer. You know what I mean? So maybe that's part of what he does. Because I mean that was. You always saw that, like, right after that's when you saw everybody with a video camera at, like, their baseball game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he
So-
had that, and he was doing that throughout the whole
Yeah,
deal.
so I
He had
think
the
it was
video
just
camera.
like, look, video camera, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's like that Poltergeist remake where they used the drone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It was there.
and you knew
yeah.
that was going to happen. You're like, oh, look, they have a drone. Okay.
Yeah, or that part in La Bamba.
Spoiler alert for La Bamba.
They're going around the party with the camera,
Right?
a film camera.
Film camera, even.
Yeah, I know, right? It was like a film. So, yeah, he's walking around his New York apartment. Well, we
Yes.
assume it's
Oh,
New
yeah.
York because they do
It is New York.
Yeah, they show the flyover,
Right.
and that's where the Eric Clapton score kicks in.
Yes.
So he puts something into the oven, and he's
Oh, yeah.
and he's trying to write, right? But he's getting to cooking, right? I mean, he's like cooking and writing, and he's actually cooking.
Yeah.
And he's got this weird hat with headphones on, and a video camera and a computer. He touches the computer, and bloom, it goes bad.
Yeah, everything that he wrote, gone.
Yeah,
Not like everything ever, but everything he had that day.
right.
Yeah. And he was
And-
cooking.
Yeah, and he was cooking.
As
He was cooking a duck.
he was also cooking that which he forgot about.
Yes. Well, I guess he was going to make dinner before they went to the cabin.
That's
okay.
what it seemed like.
Right. And is it upstate New York that they went to?
It must be. I don't know. I don't
It's
think
gotta
that it ever
be.
says.
Yeah,
It's
like
just
the
out in
Catskills or
country.
something like that. Yeah. But it's not far from New York.
No. Well, at least a day, though. Because when they're driving back, we see the sunset. And at the beginning, they're eating breakfast. And he's like, we'll clean this up and we'll go. And it's sunset on their way back.
Okay. All right. That makes
So
sense.
it's got to be a little bit of a drive.
Yeah. So, I mean, his wife comes home. That's when we get to meet his wife and his son.
Yes.
And they have a great relationship.
Yeah,
they're
everybody's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, they're like, ha ha ha, he's so funny.
He's the
'cause,
funniest guy.
He's doing these talking this weird shit about the painting falling off the wall and stuff. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's like if
It's a
Aaron
weird-
Sorkin was born or was writing in the 80s for something because it was supposed to be natural talking,
Right.
but it wasn't because the delivery sucked. Okay. even a little kid. I mean, he was like, whatever. And then the fire, and then even that's more Aaron Sorkin. This is like a shitty Aaron Sorkin script, maybe is the best way to put it, because it's supposed to be natural.
Right.
Maybe Strieber was trying to do that. So okay, let's look at the artistic side of that. So
we don't know where the links come apart.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So
There's
they
a
get
director involved. There's a writer. There's the actors bringing it out. The mom seems to do a good job through the whole movie for the most part. When she's not, there's some scenes, but it's not really her doing anything. It's just the direction, I think.
Direction and the writing,
and
editing too,
and that too. Yeah.
I
You
think
gotta pay to have that.
I think the editing like really ruined most of it.
Could be.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. Everything ruined it. Never mind. So yeah,
I wasn't sad that I watched this movie, and if you watch it, you will enjoy it because it is.
It's pretty funny.
Unintentionally funny.
It's just weird.
No, it totally is.
So they're going to the cabin. Their friends come over. He almost starts a fire. Blah 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 blah. So you can kind of see his discombobulation already with security systems or whatever the hell is going on there, right? At the apartment. So
fire department comes and they're like, "You owe us $100,"
and they're like, and his wife's like, "Really?" It's like it's a big funny deal.
They almost acted like they'd been there before, though.
Right. Well, they have. Yeah. And that's why he was like,
he said that.
He's like, you've been warned about this,
or something.
Yeah. He's like, you've been warned about this.
Yeah.
So you'll see your summons next Monday or something like that. You'll get your summons in the mail. So yeah. So they load up into the GMC Jimmy or whatnot.
Right.
Whatever. It's the Ford Bronco full size.
I don't even remember.
It's got a lot of lights on it too.
Yes.
So they're driving to whatever.
He likes a lot of lights.
Right.
You find out in this movie.
Crazy. There's a lot of lights. So they pull up to their cabin, of course,
and they've got the couple with them.
Yes. The foreigner, wherever he's from, and his wife or girlfriend or whatnot. Right.
Right.
So they all get there, and that's when, the kid freaks out. Because he goes into his room and he's like, "Dad," and he says like 3 times, and of course Walken's got to come in and be like, "Whoa, this is a spider," and it's just a spider crawling around, and he acts like he throws it on his wife or something like that.
Right.
And it's supposed to be really funny, but it's not, and
it's not really at all.
No, and he says something. To his son that was supposed to be funny, but it was really stupid. Like, it should have been in the dock. Something like that, right? I don't know. It was stupid, right? Yeah. And then the little kid's like, it's probably wasn't a spider or something. So they're all going to bed. And of course he's in bed mugging too. So he's got his glasses upside down and they're giggling and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "You want to fool around?" And okay, and because they're making fun of the couple, they're like, "What are they doing?" Right. Are they doing it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, the other couple is just sitting there chilling, right? And then they start fooling around, and of course he says some weird, stupid shit. But then in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, and this is another observation my wife made. She's like, "Who the fuck sleeps like they do?"
I know, right?
Right? He's laying on top of
across her, yes.
Across her, and in this scene, his arm is over her head.
Yeah.
She's like, "No, there's no way."
Yeah,
no, I have. She's like, "I have my space. You have your space. If you're that close and your arm's draped over me, I'm already moving you."
Right.
It doesn't even get to that point. Right. You know what I mean? But it's literally like she's laying in the pillow and his hand is like straight over her.
Yes.
And he wakes up and he's like, "Someone's there." He's like, "Someone's there." But yeah, he's staring into nothing. Yeah. Because that's how he wakes up at the very beginning too, doesn't he?
When he has that bad dream or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I've woke up and stared into like the blackness beyond the blackness. You know? So I could see that a little bit, maybe.
Right, but but his eyes are wide open.
Right.
But is he hypnotized or I don't know what it is. Right.
Nobody knows.
Right.
He's
so
Christopher Walken.
Right. So this is in
Whitley Strieber. in a
This-
film by Whitley Strieber.
So this is in like October before Halloween.
Yeah.
So he sits in his wicker chair, next to the bed or whatnot, right? The rocking chair or something, all calm and he's like, "There's somebody there." And he looks over and that little fucking alien pokes its head out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the lights start going crazy. So the kid wakes up, sees the lights, and just kind of staring out the window too. And we're talking like the brightest lights you'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, shining through the windows is huge.
Close Encounters.
Right.
Style, yeah.
Even more so. And and so the foreigner and his wife wake up. But at that point, Strieber is sitting in the chair, and then that freaking alien head just like woo, 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 like pops like right up in front of him, and then all of a sudden sticks something up to his forehead, right?
Right.
And he's like, kind of like it's in that weird kind of like jagged style.
Yes.
It's discombobulating.
It is.
Really, it is. And then all of a sudden, the kid almost is trying to get abducted, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to pull the kid away through the window or something.
Yeah.
Because he's looking through the dill and he's like, ah.
Yeah.
Okay, but why didn't the foreigner get up and be like, hey, your kid's screaming? You know what I mean?
Apparently they had a bad night.
Right. I guess. And then, and then, as soon as this kid starts screaming, he knocks the crystal thing, the healing crystal, out of the alien's head. He's like, pow. And then he's sitting there, kind of like, what's going on? And he totally nonchalantly, he never has a reaction,
right?
Like a fast reaction. It's more like, this is inconveniencing me right now. I don't know what I should do. Maybe I'll go downstairs. And he goes downstairs and distracts his son. He's like, no, there was somebody there. Somebody tried to get me, right? Meantime, his wife didn't wake up.
Right.
But the foreigner and his wife did. And his kid did. But his wife was like,
nah,
she was stoned out.
Yeah.
She's done. And then he makes some jokes about like cooking biscuits or something like that.
Yeah.
Cooking, but not because of some stupid line. Dude.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Really bad.
Yeah.
And he distracts his son, and his son's like, okay, I'll go back to sleep. Whatever,
There's nothing bad out there.
No.
Dad made me laugh.
Yeah, it was the security system.
The floodlights.
Right. So they wake up the next day, they're eating breakfast. And they're like, oh, man. And he does make that comment. He's like, you were out.
Yeah.
I mean, you were asleep. He's like, but I had a bad dream. And then, their guests were like, yeah, we saw this bright light.
How did you guys not see it?
Yeah, did you not see it? And he was like, oh, it's probably the moon. What?
Of course.
The moon is not that bright unless you're on it.
I don't think even
then,
that's
no.
not really how the moon works.
No. I mean, this is another weird deal. It's just his character is like, there's what?
Yeah, it could have been the moon.
I guess we're having the same dream or something. Whatever. You were in my dream. Ha ha ha. And even the little kids like, no, there was little people trying to take me, and it was for real. And they're like, whatever,
Right.
And then
that couple's like, we're leaving.
Well, they don't say that right up front.
Right.
I guess they eat breakfast, and they're just like, mom and the kid are sitting there with the wife, and the dude comes in and is like, I would like to leave. And he's like, what? Whatever. And he's like, no. And he yells, I want to leave now.
Right.
Because he's messed up. He's like, what the hell was that crap? And even in the car ride, they're like, that's so weird. You want to go home. I mean, why are we doing this? What? It just doesn't make sense in the linear part of that, okay?
Right, sure.
So I guess they're back, and it's, the little kid's been traumatized, and it's Halloween, and literally, like, he doesn't like the spaceship in the little playground that they're in, and he's a pirate, right? And she's just like, oh, what's the matter? So she's doesn't think it's anything, of course. So
well, she does kind of mention it to Christopher Walken's character.
Yeah, it's like he was. What'd she say? He was acting strange, and like not normal. He's like, oh,
And
whatever.
he got real serious about it though. Like when she said something, he was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
You know?
There's a couple of points where he was on it, like a real dad.
Right.
But like, whoa, okay, let's figure this
Johnny,
out.
good time. What's going on?
Yeah, Johnny man, come here, man. No.
What's wrong with you? Give me a kiss.
Yeah. So this is where he's in his underwear and cowboy boots.
Yeah, he is.
Was that
With the
supposed
fox mask on top of his head.
Right. So maybe that was how Whitley Strieber acted whenever he was writing. He was getting into a weird place.
I guess.
That's how I'm going to explain it.
What book was he supposedly writing?
I don't know.
I think that's the research we should have done.
Yeah, but the thing is like he had lost his writing. He couldn't write anything.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Throughout this whole movie. So they go to, I guess, another tenement building.
Yeah.
Did they
Everybody
know
lives-
these people?
Apparently.
Was it in the same building? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and
But maybe. Who knows? Who
Right.
knows?
And
I don't think there's any context for that.
yeah, and that woman that's in there, all the kids are there. They're having cake and everything. She's a character actor, and they always do that close-up shot with that woman too. Everything that she's in, they do the close-up, like, everybody ready.
Right.
The queen is talking. And so they go trick-or-treating throughout the building. That's how they do it in New York, I guess, right?
Yeah. And Christopher Walken goes with his son.
Yeah.
And all the other parents are like, "Get out of here, kids."
And he's like, "You'll go with me, Dad, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's go." So you don't have to look like an elephant.
And
He's
he
like,
gives it to the dude.
yeah, he's like, "Put these on ice for me." What?
"That's fresh," or something like that. He's
It's weird.
clean or something.
Yeah, and, these are clean. You can use them. And it's a wizard.
Yeah. Put on your elephant tusk.
Right. So they're somewhere like downstairs or something. They're in a hallway.
Yeah, they're in a hallway, and it does kind of seem like they. I don't know. I don't know if there's any context for stairs, but you see the stairs above.
Right. So nobody else is in the hallway.
Yeah,
It's completely dark.
and quiet.
Right.
This is like the most insulated apartments in the world.
Yeah, right. Ever,
Right.
especially in New York. And he's walking down the hall and he gives the kid the video camera.
And there's an orange jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, and he's just walking behind him going,
glowing.
ooh.
And putting his hands in his face.
I know, right? It's just fucking weird, right? So they get up to it and somebody jumps up from behind it and scares the shit out of both of them, right? And it's like, but it looks real.
And it's got an alien mask.
Yeah, and it's all looks like a fucking like a cricket. Something fucking weird, right?
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
giant cricket. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And like everybody comes out, they're like, "That's a 13-year-old
Stay
little
away
girl."
from me. Like he goes off on her.
Yeah. It scares the shit out of his kid, everything like that, right?
So then they have to go home and have the talk.
Yeah, and this is another part where I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Because she's like, "What are you doing? Why did you scare our son like that?" And he's like, "I was scared." She's like, "Nobody's that scared." He's like, "No, for real."
Are you kidding me? Do you not think I know what you do for a living?
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, oh, he must write horror books? I don't
Right.
know.
Right.
I don't know Will
He's like, you
Strieber,
scared the
Whitley
shit.
Strieber.
Yeah, you scared the shit out of our kid, and you can't be that scared. Nobody's that scared. I'm like, well, apparently your husband is.
Right.
Should have been like, hey,
Are you okay?
you okay? Instead, she's like, screw you, you suck. You know,
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
No, not
She's
a healthy
like-
relationship.
Yeah, automatically she was like looking for the divorce switch.
Yeah.
You know? She's like, all right, click. We're
Zova.
going. Yeah, we're going. And he's like, but no, for real. Like, I was scared to shit. Like, I'd seen it before. I'm like, whatever.
Yep.
You know, so she's all mad at that. That's a weird dynamic. So then we kind of cut to the play, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is weird because the little boy's in some play and he's filming it and everything like that. But the little boy's still all
Like the
kind of weird.
Christmas program or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
So it's before Christmas, and they're still going to go out because Santa Claus knows everything, right? And you know the little boy's like, "Are we going to go up there and go see Santa?" He's like, "Yeah." So they go up to see Santa,
Yeah.
which again, no context.
Nope.
We don't even
Back at the cabin though.
right. They're at the cabin, and they have another somebody's there.
Yeah.
And
a little more fleshed out this time, right?
Yeah. Well,
Sort of.
he kind of freaks out. And again, his wife's like, at first, in the first part of that scene, you know, they're like, oh, everything's happy, but he's being serious,
Right.
you know, which is weird. And she's like, ha ha ha. And then she's like, come back to me, wit. And he grabs a fucking shotgun off the top of the wardrobe, right? He loads it up.
Well, is that in the second interaction?
I think so. That's whenever they go up there because something else happened. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, you're probably right. Because this is where we get all the weird creatures then? Like the people that take him?
Not yet. That's kind of at the end whenever he gets hypnotized.
Okay.
And they dive into it. So he's walking through the house, right?
Okay.
And he goes downstairs to the basement of this place, and then he goes out through the basement door. He goes back through the front door, and he's got this loaded shotgun and shit, right? And he sees one of the little dudes holding a plant, like hiding behind it, you know, like hide and seek style.
Yeah.
And then he shoots that shit, and then, okay, what's one thing you don't do when somebody's shooting a shotgun?
Walk in that room?
Yes.
Run. She almost gets it.
Run in the room, and he like barely pulls up. Boom. Right? Because he's fucking traumatized.
Right.
And that was the only real acting in the whole movie by Christopher Walken, by the way, too, because he like cries.
Right.
And a little kid comes out and he's like, why were you shooting? Why were you shooting at, Dad? Why were you shooting? Why were you shooting at?
Shut up, kid.
Yeah. God damn it, you're so freaking
This is
annoying.
why that guy on Amityville Horror snapped.
Exactly. So we have that deal.
Yeah.
And because he remembers that he had like a red spot on the back of his something, you know.
Yeah, right.
So he goes to the doctor.
Like on the back of his neck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes to the doctor, right? And the doctor's like, well, and he's describing everything to him. You know, what's happening is like, this is, I've never told anybody about this. This doesn't make sense. This is stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Right? And of course, that's how Watkins just like kind of laughing at himself.
Right.
He's like, oh, this is dumb. Why am I feeling this is stupid? You know, I shouldn't be telling anybody. Am I crazy, Doc?
Well, even before that, I mean, like when he like just lays down on the ground, like in the fetal position and talking to his wife.
Right.
You know, and you're like, okay.
Well, yeah, too. And he flips out on her. He's like, don't touch my stuff.
Yeah.
What?
And you could tell it's like, that's the one thing I will say is you tell it's a total mood change or a personality change for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like immediately.
So they're acting.
Yeah. I am an actor.
So
yeah.
give that to him.
Yeah. And I mean, she convinces him to go to a doctor, and then he comes out, and
she does the hypnotherapy stuff, right?
Yeah, well,
Donnie Darko style.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So at first,
Donnie Darko shit.
so he's like not convinced still, right?
Right.
And so the doctor sends him to a head shrinker, right? Is the way he says it,
right?
That specializes in rape cases.
Yes.
And is like, okay, that's weird. He's like, whatever. I don't know what's going on, you know?
Right.
So he ends up going to the doctor. They meet in that first consultation, you know? And I guess their marriage is hanging by a thread. I would suppose, right?
Oh, you almost shot her, so yeah.
That was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Usually.
It's one of them. And so
number 3 on the list.
Yeah, that'll be number 3. If you shoot at your wife with a shotgun on Christmas. Because after Christmas Eve, he like sits down because they're walking, and he's like sitting down like, I can't walk anymore. And his son's like, come on, Dad, let's go. Come on, Dad, let's go. I'd be like, shut up. I'm going back. You know, I mean, he's just like he's all messed up. So he shows the doctor that spot on the back of his head. It was very like tender or whatnot. And the doctor's like, okay. So he goes to the shrinker or the shrink. And she's like, so, and of course he blows up on her and says like, this is dumb. See ya, you know? And then of course his wife's like, you need to do this or we're going to get a divorce. Sit up and talk to me. Which is fucking serious.
Right.
Because he's just chilling. He's like,
smackdown.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to go do this. She's like, sit up and talk to me. He's like, why? It's so weird.
Yeah. The interactions are strange.
And so he's like, okay, so I'll do it. So he goes and he does his first hypno session.
Yeah.
That was weird.
That was weird. Because that's where we see all the things that are going on in his head anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
So we get to see what actually happened to him. Right.
Allegedly.
So on that Christmas night,
Yeah.
right?
And the little trolls.
Yeah. So he's laying in bed.
This was my what the fuck moment. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
He wakes up and he's like looking at him like, and she's out.
I will say that's a pretty natural reaction though. Like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I guess he just did that on his own.
Yeah.
When they were filming it, you know?
I mean, honestly.
But really, I mean, at some point you're just going to crack.
Yeah. If something like that comes out of nowhere, you're like,
exactly. What the hell?
Is this real?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you have that moment of like where it just there's no way you could comprehend.
Right. And that's pretty much what kind of put him in that state. And they pick him up. And,
acting.
Yes. and of course the room is flooded with light and his wife is screaming.
Yeah, and she's like almost like she's being pulled like on the bed.
Yeah.
Like she's still on the bed, but like
yeah,
and her eyes are open and screaming.
Yeah. So she knows what's going on.
But she didn't.
Exactly. So she went back to sleep.
Yeah,
Thought it was a
they
bad
probably zapped her with the brain thing.
Something.
They gave her the Men in Black red light. Thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But we find out what really happens.
We do.
So Walken he's under hypnosis, and you get to see him talking about everything and reliving that moment to where they're like basically sexing him up on the on the ship or some shit. Like he's completely naked and he's just like staring like, hey, he's got eyeliner on for some reason. And
he's like dancing around.
Right. The little green dudes are like, touching his naked body and making him lay down. And then the other aliens are all watching him in like a gallery.
Right.
It's like one of those old like teaching doctor school.
Like surgery.
Yeah. They're all watching. They're like, oh, this is pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all these spindly armed little new. The aliens seriously they look so ridiculous. They look like something you would win at a fair for shooting baskets.
I'll buy that.
You know what I mean?
I'll buy that.
It's like, and they're just like, ooh.
Yeah, and their arms kind of go like the little guys at the car sales.
Yeah. Yes. Like totally 100%. It's fucking weird.
It is weird.
And so she's like, something happened to you. But he comes out of hypnosis on his own.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm out of it now, aren't I? I'm like, okay.
Whoa, calm down.
Yeah,
buddy.
I know, right? So it was his first session. His wife wasn't in there. He was screaming. He's like, I'll kill you. So like he was violated.
I probably would have said those words too about the time that was going on.
Well, it's weird that there's this little tube that comes out of the wall.
Yeah.
And this thing ain't small either.
No, it's like poking its head about.
This thing is like, okay, so imagine that part on Return of the Jedi where that little thing comes out. It's like, right in front of Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
That's what came out of the wall.
Sort of.
Yeah, and they make him stand up all seductively. I don't know. Right? And they shove that thing up his ass. Which, okay. So that happens.
Exactly.
And he's still kind of fucked up. He still doesn't believe it, right? But yet he knows. And they kind of allude at that point that it's been with him his whole life.
Right.
Right. Like he was a little kid and he's like, hey, you know what? Like even that part where he's laying down with the little kids.
Yeah. What
And-
was going?
And all the little kids are just like playing, and it's like, she wants her mom. And the aliens come out. It's like, what the fuck is this?
I didn't even know what was going on right there. I was like, is this a fever dream?
Right. So it's still kind of like he's in like the playroom,
Right.
you know,
Right.
interacting with the kids, and the kids are like banging on drums and playing the flute and weird stuff. And,
Yeah.
like they give him toys from the 50s,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's when he was a kid, I guess.
I guess. So maybe
Like,
he
I'm
was
a grown man.
Yeah. so maybe they did the same thing to him when he was a kid. I don't know.
That's what I kind of gathered.
Yeah.
You know, that like you said, they were following him through his life. He just didn't remember. They
Yeah.
zapped his brain.
They were always there
Always touching his brain and
in his
moving
butthole.
things. Oh my.
His
You know, I don't know how to say this nicely or in the right way. But if you're going to grab people off Earth
Why you gotta stick something
and
in your
stick
butthole?
something up their butthole, I'm just saying you could do your research first. There's people that would pay you to do that.
I know.
I'm not one of them, but there's
No,
people out
there-
there.
there-
You know,
I mean-
there's like on Craigslist, like
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
pour
well,
hot
shit.
wax on my nipples while you take a crap on my
Yeah, on
you
my
know,
face.
on my face, and someone jams it in my butthole. You know, whatever. I'm just saying, there's people you can find that would enjoy it, and they'd be like, "Yeah, come poke around."
Hey, man. Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Some people are an open book.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah. Some people are the entire Encyclopedia
I'm
Britannica.
I'm just saying that there's nicer ways to do things.
But yeah, they have to. It's like they've been they've been drugged,
yeah,
and they're going in there and violating them for some reason to see what
Yeah.
their reaction is. I don't
know.
It's a psychological thing. They're like,
Maybe next time when we come back, he'll like it.
yeah, maybe. So weird.
Well, they're obviously, you know, inspecting him as he grows and, you know, whatever.
I guess, right?
Yeah, they're just, you know, experimenting around.
Yeah.
What happens if we do this? And, well, he gets a little crazy. It's Christopher Walken. Oh.
He's cracking.
Yeah.
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 So then, like shortly thereafter, his wife goes, right,
Right.
and his wife is there, and she does her best "I'm hypnotized" impression. No, my son, he's screaming. No.
You mean Academy nominee?
Yeah, acting.
Acting.
Which weird, and she
Yeah.
wakes up in the deal too, so she remembers some of it, so she
Right.
gets it. But then when she goes home, she sits with her kid, and her kid finally says, "Oh, it's like the little green doctors," just what he was describing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Okay, this is legit.
Right.
Maybe we should go to this whatever you call it, survivor group."
Yeah, yeah.
Which those are like the best actors in the movie too.
Yeah,
you
right.
know? Even the woman that was like, "I didn't even ask to be picked up," but they did it anyway. You know, and you find out one woman loses her baby. The other woman is like, "Yeah, it's passed down from generation to generation." And the one dude's like, "Well, who picked you up? Was it the little green dudes? Was it this? Was it that?" And he's like, he still can't believe it,
Right.
Even though he's sitting around a group full of people.
It was all of them.
He's
Can't
like,
do a Christopher Walken. I mean,
Yeah.
we keep trying, though.
well, then he leaves the group too, which I don't
Yeah.
understand that. So he knows people sitting right in front of him that have had the same butthole treatment, and the generational thing, right? Okay,
You just learn more in like 5 minutes
right.
than you have the whole movie.
Yeah, and then he's like, no, this is dumb. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next thing we get to see is he comes in and starts tap dancing in a suit.
Yeah.
What? He's got the camera too,
Yeah.
and he's tap dancing in a suit. Because after he leaves the doctor that one time, he gets on the bus, and that woman's
Oh, yeah,
crying on the
yeah.
bus, and she's like, "Do you know if this goes to the end of the line?" And then she looks like a freaking, a grasshopper.
Right, right.
And he's like, "You guys, whoa, hey, oh, for real."
Yeah, no, 100%.
Oh, you guys are in for a world. Oh man. where that just came out of nowhere too, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess he gets into his Bronco, right? And he's driving up to the cabin in a 3-piece suit.
Sounds right. Yeah.
After tap dancing, because he tells his wife, "I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes."
Right.
She's like, "You don't even smoke." After he leaves.
Right. And again, if he's going up to the cabin, when they came back, it was sunset when they left. And let's say even they left by noon.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're probably, 6 hours minimum?
Maybe.
Minimum.
Yeah. He drives all there by himself, and then he has his camera, and like he stops. We don't know where he stopped. It looked like a dirt road.
Right.
Complete dirt road.
Right.
And it's a glowing orb. And he walks in and a little bit. So he walks into it. And this is where
Man walks into an orb.
Yeah, and this is where the Eric Clapton score comes in.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what?
Why?
Yeah, this should be dramatic, but not like I'm watching Riggs and Murtaugh fight. You know, it's weird.
It was weird.
Yeah, so I guess that's their ship, or their like interdimensional doorway.
Something, yeah.
Right. And, you know, the first one, this is fucking weird too. So the first little dude, right, grabs his camera and is like, nah.
Right.
So he puts it down. And then he walks into the group of them. And then they start doing weird greetings.
Yeah.
Like they're doing like international greetings. And then all of a sudden it gets real exciting because the little dude puts his hand out and he gives him a high five and shit. And you're like, whoa.
They didn't use the one from Transformers, though.
No.
Never.
No. Zeep. Gra na weep za na nini bomb.
Close.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like he does all these weird deals, right?
Yeah.
And then he looks over and gets real serious because he sees himself with a pencil-thin mustache.
Yeah. It was like him, but...
And a top hat.
It was like a duplicate of him.
And a showgirl. He's like, here, take a look at this. And he starts like, how dare you? What? Yeah,
me with a small mustache. Yes. Everybody knows me with a mustache is evil.
Yeah, it is.
I learned that from Star Trek.
Right. It's an evil version of him, which is, I don't even know what the interaction, because the little dudes are like, ha, yeah.
Yeah, they're like dancing around like it's the Yub Nub.
Yeah. Like the good ending.
Yeah.
And he gets into an argument with the dude. I don't. And then all of a sudden one of the aliens pop up, one of the Greys or whatnot. It peels off.
I was getting ready to say this is where the face and all that starts coming off.
Yeah, it peels off the bottom part of this face.
He's got the locust face.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Right? And then again, he's sitting down and he's got the mask. Maybe at this part, he's got like the alien mask that he puts on his own face.
So there was I actually read something where it was like the director told him just to go in and sit down and try on all these different alien masks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And
hell no.
Act like Christopher Walken, I guess.
Fucking weird.
Yeah. Strange. I don't know anything about the director at all.
I just know that he did, you know, he's done a lot of stuff.
Right. I mean, I know the name, but I just don't know if I like it. Anyways. I don't know if this was his best effort, maybe is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Maybe
he's a French-born Australian filmmaker.
Yeah.
I mean, so that tells you something.
Well, I mean,
that he moved from France.
After
Australia.
Yeah. Well, after this dance party they have in the orb, right? Or wherever they're at, he wakes up on the side of the road to a honking horn in the morning.
Yeah.
But he's on like a well-traveled road.
Donnie Darko.
Yeah, but then he goes home.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, what are you doing out of school? Because his son's like, oh, me and Mom were waiting for you.
Yeah. It's like everybody just accepts that this is a thing now.
Right. That he's all messed up.
Yeah.
Something. And so...
But don't they kind of know now, too, at this point?
Yeah, I guess they accepted it.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, oh, We get it. You're nuts because of aliens.
Yeah, you're messed up.
Yeah, that's
You're
all right.
back.
Now they're going to follow me for the rest of my life. Thanks,
Yeah.
dick.
Yeah. He's like, now they're after my son.
Right.
And that's whenever he wakes up again.
Yes.
And he's like, there's somebody there. And they go up to the roof. For what? I don't know. And they just stare off into the distance.
Maybe they're just like, we're going to come here and make it easier.
Right.
Sucks when you pull us out of the house.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Was there a bright light in their room too that led him up there? Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, then you get the power shot at the very end,
right.
right? What's all three of them? It's like a music video ending.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
like a rat
Not
video.
like a Buckaroo Banzai music video ending either.
No, this is like a rat video, right? Like RATT.
Right. Right. No,
you know,
and round and round.
Yeah, they have really nice clothes on, and they're just staring at the camera like, yeah. Okay. Like they just got done taking down the crime syndicate or something.
But they did nothing.
And that was it.
Yeah. So I'm looking through this guy's
And that was
filmography.
communion.
Yeah. So let me tell you the movies I remember that this guy made. The Howling 2,
Mm-hmm.
Your Sister's a Werewolf, and The Howling 3. I don't remember Pterodactyl Woman from Beverly Hills.
Oh, I remember that one. Not.
The Beast Within. I do remember that. And I believe that is it, my friend. But he's made a ton of great films, I'm sure.
He does
There's
a lot of
long
Nazi
list.
stuff.
Yeah.
Swastika. He did Mad Dog Morgan, which I think is
I
another
don't think I've seen that.
Dennis Hopper. Yeah,
Okay.
Mad Dog Morgan. It's on Tubi. I haven't watched it yet, but
So, what'd you think, buddy? Watch some Communion?
It was probably one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time.
I agree that it was well worth the watch for all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Like if you're sitting down to watch a film, don't watch this.
No.
But if you just want to sit down and laugh at something, this is great.
This is a good
And
movie
you
to get
get
stoned to.
Yeah, you get a lot of Walken being Walken too, you know, which is awesome because he's already over the top. And then everything else is just sideways as well through this whole movie. So it's one of those great movies where you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
The whole time. There's a lot of out of context things. There's a lot of weird like interactions with everybody.
Right.
There's nothing. Again, it's like a really crappy Aaron Sorkin script that's supposed to be natural, but they're like, okay, we're gonna have a 30-minute scene, but we're gonna cut it down to 5 minutes.
Yes.
We're gonna fit everything that we need to fit into that 5 minutes. Like we're gonna show you putting up breakfast.
Yeah.
And this dude yelling, but there's nothing else before that.
That none of that matters.
But we filmed it all, but let's get rid of it. It is if anybody is watching this, I just would like them to put it in a linear sense.
That's understandable.
Because it does have structure.
Yeah, I would say it's linear. I mean, there's a lot of him like flashing back to what happened, like earlier on in the movie. You know what I
Right.
mean? But I'd say overall it's linear. Like
Think about
because you're watching it as he's uncovering.
Think about a good story. You have
Right.
your dramatic rise. You have your intro, dramatic rise,
Right.
and then you have your cliffhanger, and then bam,
Right.
you're done. What was the freaking cliffhanger in this one? Him dancing in his house, going to visit them again, and
yeah.
accepting it.
Well, and I think there's another way you could take this, and I know this is not Strieber, his interpretation, but again, what we said earlier about like how Christopher Walken played it. What if the whole time he's just crazy?
Right.
And I think that makes it a different kind of movie if you think that way. Now, again, I know Strieber didn't intend that because he thought that he was taken by aliens. It's about him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it makes it a cooler movie.
Does it?
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. That doesn't take much.
When I saw it was on, I was excited. I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
Communion's on here! This was a pretty crazy movie." And then I watched it. Was like, "What the? It is crazy."
I'm glad I watched it because I
Yeah.
had never seen it all the way through, and it was a jovial time.
I've seen it. I've seen it now twice in the last like 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about watching it again.
Wow. Okay.
Just
well, I don't know if I'm
because-
going to go that
yeah,
far.
just because it's so freaking weird.
It is weird. It was definitely a strange movie.
I don't know. I don't know how many people have seen this. At least, God.
I think it made like $1 million,
Yeah.
1.25 or something. I don't know. I don't have that in front of me.
They were probably wearing their own clothes.
I think what's
Driving, because there's only one car in the whole thing. They probably had one permit to shoot on the street.
this book was a bestseller for 6 months. So there's that.
Might see if I can find it.
I'm sure you can because there was a trade paperback that came out in 2008.
Oh, okay.
Presents a new preface by the author.
He's like, I lied about all this shit.
This is bullshit. I got paid.
I got y'all motherfuckers.
I got paid money.
Somebody, I got dividends off that $1 million. They probably paid Walken $1 million to do that movie.
Right.
No, not in that day. They probably paid him
not,
like
yeah.
a couple $100,000 to be in that movie. Damn. I'm still lost. Like even seeing it twice, I'm still kind of like.
Well, I just saw it the once, and I was definitely like, okay, this is something.
I might.
And I don't think that I lost anything in it. You know what I mean? Like I watched it intently. I took some notes, but I don't think I lost. I think it just is what it is. To be real honest.
I think I would like to devise a supercut of this.
Okay.
Get rid of all of the
Little kid.
almost. I think this is a way I would do it. I'd start them at the cabin, showing up, right? Lights going off. They're driving up to the cabin. They're like, I don't know what my birthday is. And that whole part of it, that would be the beginning,
Okay.
right? And then everybody freaks out, right? And then cut to him going to them coming back, right?
Right.
Not that whole 30 minutes in between.
Right.
No Christmas, nothing, right? Them coming back to it, and then him freaking out, right? Getting abducted the second time, and then show him getting sick outside. And then cut to him going to the doctor after he gets back.
Sure.
And then cut to him going to the head shrinker. And then, the hypnotizing.
Right.
So
and
you
then
get
the part where he goes and has a dance party.
Yeah. I'd cut out a lot of shit. Maybe leave the grasshopper, on the bus thing. It's like, oh shit.
So my question is this: what kind of drugs was Whitley Strieber doing when this happened to him?
He had to have been doing some shit like
when I think of bugs, I think of like people who did the morphine and like
naked lunch.
Naked lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. They were in the interzone.
Yes.
God, who's that guy? Montgomery Clift. Okay. So Montgomery Clift devised his own drink, I think. It was a mixture of all these different chemicals. Weird shit, right? That he kept in a thermos.
Okay.
Prescription drugs, blah, 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 right? And he would carry it around with him. And this shit could kill a horse, right?
Okay.
And Montgomery Clift I think he got into a wreck or something crazy and kind of messed him up, so he got addicted to all these painkillers. So he kind of put it into some sort of a concoction. From what I've read, I don't know the validity of this.
Sure.
But that's probably what Whitley Strieber was on. It was like, what do I got in my medicine cabinet?
Let me make a little something up.
I'm going to mix this up, and we're going to see. Because, you know, he believes it. And he might have got abducted this way. But, yeah.
Yep.
That's all I got to say with that.
I will say this. Strieber compared the familiar being that he sees, whom he describes as female, to the Sumerian goddess Ishtar. So that's a little deeper. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm going to have to read this book.
So he did the Ishtar thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like made a bad movie?
Anything compared to Ishtar probably is not very good.
Well, I think they were talking about Ishtar the goddess. Not Ishtar the movie. But, you know, that would have been awesome. It looks like Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman had combined into one person. Wasn't that the two people that were in Ishtar?
Dustin Hoffman?
And Warren Beatty, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Fuck Warren Beatty.
I know your love of Warren Beatty.
God.
At least this was Christopher Walken and not Warren Beatty. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we got that going for it. I'd give it probably... So here's how I'm going to rank this movie, okay? As far as alien abductions, I would give it 2.5 out of 5 alien abductions. As a comedy, I would give it 3.5 anal probes.
Okay. As far as like cult status, this is probably one of those cult movies that I don't think anybody will ever really be like, wow,
that cult's really small.
Yes, there's like 5 people in it.
Yeah.
And it's the 5 people that were in the abduction scene.
Yes. It's the 5 people that were in the Survivor group.
Yes. Oh my God.
We were in this movie. We should like it. Let's watch it together.
Yeah. We love it.
Once a year, everybody
watch
gets
it
together and watches
Yeah,
it.
in the Catskills.
Yes.
I don't think
As a comedy?
Yeah. As a comedy, I would give it, 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I feel like that's strong, but not so strong that you're like, okay. You know? It's fair. So there you go, guys.
That's communion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yep.
Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
Hey.
Yeah. No.
Well, tell us about your experiences with this movie. Where can they do that, Brock?
At dropculture.com or dropculturepodcast@gmail.com.
And if you really want to get social with us, you can hit us up on the Facebook, the Instagram,
Drop Culture,
the Twitter.
Drop Culture.
Yeah. So that's where you can get us at. Let us know if you've seen this movie, what your thoughts were. We'd love to hear from you. And with that,
we out.
Peace.
I'm still all fucked up. I'm like, what?
We're all fucked up because of this movie.
Movie's fucked up.